Hello, welcome to the Doctor Who podcast. Tonight we're covering Chapter 3 of Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Colonel Graff arrives at Ender's home to question him about the events with the Stilson incident at school the other day. So once Ender explains that he was defending himself and making sure that he was protected going forward by making a point, then Graff accepts that and says that really the removal of the monitor and the events at school were really the final test as they were monitoring him, and basically invites him and talks him into going to battle school out in the belt.
Hello again, welcome to the Doctors Who podcast. My name is Chris.
My name is Chip.
My name is Brian.
So today we're covering Chapter 3 of Ender's Game. This one is entitled Graff. So let's get to it.
Alright, so Graff is a colonel, and we do find out that he is one of the people that have been monitoring Ender. So those little epigraphs at the beginnings of each paragraph, each chapter, he's one of the people there. So Ender is still kind of preoccupied with what happened, at school and then with his brother. But then when Graff arrives, he basically says that, he asks him why he did what he did. And he accepts Ender's answer and says that basically that was your final test, that, we want to accept you into this program. The thing that's kind of intriguing here is that we learn what a third is, and it is the third child. So, but basically we also learn that a third child is essentially the International Fleet or IF property. So Ender's family had to have permission from the IF to have a third child, and it kind of brings up something that I think we'll talk about more, because it kind of ties into some of the other books we've read where we got the hero's journey, but it's really fate versus free will. So Ender's been manipulated and used and kind of on this path that he was set on to see if he was worthy of being accepted into this battle school and to possibly be the savior of the human race. But
no pressure.
But it kind of goes back to like when we read Wheel of Time, that the wheel weaves as the wheel wills. So is it really fate or is it free will that Rand thinks he's making decisions, but really he's being guided and manipulated, much the same way Ender seems to be here so far.
So I remember when I hit this part, the first read through, my first thought. Looking back, I can say this was my first thought, but it might not have been my very first thought. But how much in control the military is over everything? What is the world looking like if the military is dictating how many kids you have? What is their? We keep hearing about the astronauts and the buggers, and like the talk about there being some sort of skirmish or conflict, and what does it say about the greater part of the world? It sounds pretty dire, right? Mm-hmm. And so Graff, he's a very complex character, and we kind of start to see that here where, why did he accept the fact that Ender would beat up another kid at school? It's all very confusing. Does he follow orders like a soldier? Could he become, something special in the...
Could he become something more?
Could he
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a very... It's a very deep chapter, and I thought it was I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's very critical. Like, obviously, Chip has said this on prior videos, but economy of words. A little word here and there may make a big difference. So it feels like this is a very heavy chapter to me.
It is, and I think you're absolutely right that Orson Scott Card manages to say a whole lot with very few words. So, my takeaways are... I'm going to sneeze. Maybe not. I'll keep going. And then if it comes, it comes. We'll edit it out in post. So here's my thoughts. This kind of enlightenment as to like the military involvement in everyday life and culture, society, that sort of thing. Again, and I said this in a previous episode, I'm getting like flashbacks to Starship Troopers. I have to specify it's the movie. I've not read Robert Heinlein's book. But, in that movie, you cannot become a citizen unless you serve.
Right.
So there's a heavy military presence there as well. And, Buggers seems to indicate, in my opinion, bugs. I guess we don't know that. But, so I'm seeing similarities and parallels there. I don't know if that's just my brain. I don't know if that was due to some influence or what, but just what I'm noticing. I do find it interesting that Graff comes right out and is super honest. He's like, this is going to suck. It's going to be hard. You're going to have to leave everybody. You won't get to see your sister for a long-ass time. And that's ultimately, I think, how he gets to it, right? Because, I don't think lying would have served him well. I think Ender probably would have seen through that. And I think that, especially where he's like, your parents, yeah, they love you, but they won't miss you for long. Right. That was kind of the twist of the knife, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just, him leaving and, his sister having the breakdown as he left, telling him not to go and that she'll love him forever. I think that was the hard part for him.
Yeah, and that's the last scene in the chapter is really when he's leaving, and hers are the last words that he hears as he's leaving home.
Right. But, I mean, in a way, not quite the same. This also reminds me of Halo. Because they took, in Halo, they have Spartans who were trained to, or genetically augmented to fight this alien incursion, and they would just, swipe the kids. I mean, here at least they're going into the home and saying, hey, you're coming with us, but, I guess it's a little more humane.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah.
They did make it seem like Ender had some sort of free will.
Because the parents didn't, but he was like, Ender can choose. You guys have no choice. It's his choice.
Yeah. Right.
So that was kind of interesting to me.
What would have happened if he had said no? I mean, they clearly had
overrun by buggers inside of a year.
Right.
Yeah, and, it's one where Graff, like you said, he kind of didn't lie to him, but I don't know that he told him the whole situation either. But he did implore on his emotions because he sees both sides that, Ender is an emotional kid. Right. He's willing to defend himself. He's very intelligent. So, if he does lie, he's going to see right through it. Right. But so he uses the right tact to go after him and, recruit him, which is basically what he's doing. And, and he kind of addresses the emotion that it is going to suck. You won't be able to see your sister. It's going to be a while, but ultimately it's your decision. But the fate of humanity is kind of at stake here too.
And there was also they touched a little bit on kind of like genetics and what the military was hoping for. It's like Peter was too far this way. Valentine was too far this way, so they were hoping Ender was in the middle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And just I think it's interesting that phase 1 of the hero's journey is prepping for departure, right? Card did it in under 60 pages.
Yeah.
Jordan, it took
2
to 3 times that long. Yeah. So, just again, it's amazing what he's able to do with less words. I admire that the more I read it.
Yeah.
It's very good. So, I guess next time we are going to find out what awaits him as he leaves his home and goes off to join Battle School.
In the belt.
Battle School in the belt. All right. Click the like button if you enjoyed this. Make sure to use the comment section to contribute things that you liked or didn't like, or if there are things that we maybe got wrong somewhere along the way. We invite you to correct us. Also, click that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that when we post new content, you get notified. And we will see you next time.
Yeah,
I was done. Yeah.
I
I thought about going some more and then I didn't.